Please help support the channel by visiting our Amazon store, affiliate link below. Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and you know we live in a messed up society when somebody has to apologize for speaking the truth, especially when it comes to speaking truth to power. And that is precisely what's happening to Apple's VP of Inclusion and Diversity, Denise Young-Smith, who got herself in trouble the other day at the One Young World Summit in Bogota, Colombia, when she was talking about diversity right next to DeRay McKesson, the one of the founders of Black Lives Matter, right? So she was there, and they're talking about diversity. And well, let's just take a look at the article to see what she actually said. She says, "Diversity is the human experience. I get a little bit frustrated when diversity or the term diversity is tagged to the people of color or the women or the LGBT. Now, apparently that comment went over well with the assembled crowd, but what she caught flack for was a follow-up here saying, there can be 12 white, blue-eyed blonde men in a room, and they are going to be diverse too, because they're going to bring different life experiences and life perspective to the conversation." And that's what got her in trouble. She sat there and she said that white people, especially in this case, 12 blue-eyed, blonde-haired white dudes, will be diverse. Why? Because they have different thoughts and different experiences and different opinions and different upbringings, and they're diverse for that factor. They're diverse for the factor that they're humans. They're diverse for the factor that they are people. And look, I will fully admit here, I can see that maybe I've, in some respects, criticizing Black Lives Matter and criticizing DeRay McKesson, and also defending her in this particular case, might make me a little bit of a hypocrite. I admit that, because I have criticized Black Lives Matter as a whole before and not looked at it from the individual human experience. I've been understanding of that, but maybe my words haven't necessarily conveyed that as well as they should. I also have said, and this is just to clarify a point, that Black Lives Matter does need to be looked at as from a chapter to chapter basis versus a movement as a whole. And I oftentimes like to cite Black Lives Matter Toronto as a shining example as to why. Black Lives Matter Toronto could be wholly different in how they do things compared to, let's say, like Black Lives Matter Toledo, Ohio, or something like that, right? So there's a lot of that. But I can see why people are mad. I don't agree with why they're mad at Denise Smith. I don't agree with why they're upset. But she caught a lot of flack for that by trying to go out there and say that white men can be diverse too, right? Because that's a no-go phrase right now. You can't say that in society. People gonna get upset. They're gonna get upset, and that's really sad that they are. But that is pretty much where we are. So as a result, she caught a lot of flack, and she's since had to come out and issue an apology. And this is what she said. "Colleagues, I've always been proud to work for Apple in large part because of our steadfast commitment to creating an inclusive culture. We are also committed to having the most diverse workforce, and our work in this area has never been more important. In fact, I've dedicated my 20 years at Apple to fostering and promoting opportunity and access for women, people of color, and the underdeserved and the unheard. Last week, while attending a summit in Bogota, I made some comments as part of a conversation on the many factors that contribute to diversity and inclusion. I regret my choice of words I used to make this point. I understand why some people took offense. My comments were not representative of how I think about diversity or how Apple sees it. For that, I am sorry. More importantly, I want to assure you that Apple's view and our dedication to diversity has not changed. Understanding that diversity includes women, people of color, LGBT people, and all underrepresented minorities is at the heart of our work to create an environment that is inclusive for everyone. Our commitment at Apple is increasing racial and gender diversity is as strong as it's ever been. I'm proud of the progress we've made, but there's much work to be done, and I'm continually reminded of the importance of talking about these issues and learning from each other. Best, Denise." Standard corporate apology. I mean, I think we can all agree at that one. It's a standard corporate apology. It's like, hey guys, so look, I spoke truth to power about this whole inclusion and diversity thing because, inclusion and diversity and equity and all that regards pretty much is for everybody. But I can't say that next to DeRay McKesson because some people are going to get mad. And that's just the truth of it. And my favorite thing about this too is that this is a black woman. Right, this is a black woman. This is not like, some valley girl who got a job in HR because she has a freaking bachelor's in underwater basket weaving and ended up working in this particular format. But the other comments that Denise said too is that diversity oftentimes gets lumped onto people of color and women and LGBT and everyone else, and that it can be everybody. And that's the whole point here. Denise is not wrong in anything that she said. And ultimately, she should not have to apologize. She didn't paint Apple in a negative light. She didn't paint her job in the negative light, nor did she paint inclusion and diversity in a negative light. We actually need more people like Denise coming out and saying that the only way to get equality is to treat it as a two-way street. And this applies to everybody. This absolutely 100% applies to everybody. This is a day and age where we need to basically kind of put down our cultural barriers and come together. That is how you get inclusion. That is how you get equality. If you view everybody the same, then you'll treat everybody the same. But when people start putting up these artificial barriers for whatever reason, whether it's for the sake of trying to promote their own differences, right? Like instead of championing each other's differences, they want to use it as a way to kind of hold themselves back. They don't want to share it, or they're upset when anyone else uses that culture. Look at the term cultural appropriation. Same concept, right? When you accuse someone of cultural appropriation, that's kind of a dumb thing. Because cultures are meant to be shared. They're meant to be spread. It's very similar to, that's how we get, Mexican food in the heart of Olympia, Washington, where I live. It's a culture that came here and they brought with it their stuff. It's okay. It's not as good as what I'm used to, but it's still passable. But it's still, the culture is here and it's getting better because they're trying new things. That's the whole point. Look at Portland, Oregon. You had a couple girls there want to start up a food truck to sell tacos because they love tacos. And they were legitimately run out of town because they were white women running a taco cart. And at the same time, my sister was talking about wanting to start a taco cart, and I was really glad she didn't because I did not want that to happen to her. Because that's where inclusion and diversity is now, is that you can't do something that doesn't belong to you, especially if you're white. That's the idea that comes out of what Denise was saying, that it doesn't matter who you are. But if you look at what Denise actually said, all right, about the 12 white guys in a room, they all are different. And that would go towards anyone if it was one white dude and like 12 Argentinian women, they're all going to have different experiences. It doesn't matter what your makeup is, what your mixture of people are. Everyone is going to be different. Everyone's going to have a difference of opinion and everyone's going to have different lived experiences. And the truth of the matter is we do need to start looking at that individually. And that is hard to do when it comes to social commentary, because it is hard to sit there and address someone on an individual level and not have it come across like you're blanket attacking an entire group. And that is something I myself make mistakes on. I do try not to, but sometimes it's easier to go with just like the social pejorative rather than trying to look at it from an individual basis. And that is something I will, honest to God, be trying to work on. I do want to provide better commentary myself. And I think that if we have people providing better commentary, better understanding, and we also, don't jump down everyone's throat for every misstep they make when they speak, maybe, just maybe, there'll be some more, teachable moments rather than apologetics. Because let's be realistic here. Apologetics gets us nowhere. Apologetics does nothing. If you don't actually talk to a person and engage with them over why you think they're wrong or why you think they've screwed up or they engage with you over the same issues, then nothing ever actually gets accomplished. It's just a whole bunch of back and forth mudslinging and people retreating to their own echo chambers because that's where it's safe. And that is where a lot of us go, whether we intend to do it or not. It's unfortunate, but it is where we are. Anyway, that's this particular story. Like, holy crap. I don't feel she should have apologized. I can see why she felt she had to, especially when people are going to start attacking her for it, for trying to claim that white men are diverse when in fact their opinions, their experiences, and their lives are. But it just goes to show you a little bit of where we still need to work on in that regard. And that is going to require, I think, a bit more understanding when it comes to calling that out. How about that? I think that's fair. I think instead of, like just kind of beating our chests and doing the same thing they do when someone, or I should say the ideological opponent does when this kind of thing happens, maybe we should, be the bigger person and then open the door for dialogue. But the question remains whether or not they're actually going to want to show up for that dialogue. And sadly, in this day and age, in 2017, that doesn't necessarily seem to be the most viable option. Hey guys, that wraps up this video. If you'd like to leave a comment, please do so below. I love to read your guys' input. Be sure to hit that thumbs up button. It really does help me in the YouTube algorithm. If you want to support the channel, there's the Amazon affiliate store, there's PayPal, there's Patreon, there's Bitcoin. And if you're bored and you want something else to watch, check out 3 Buck Theater up here. My name is Matt Jarbo. I will talk to you guys later. Have yourself a wonderful day. Peace out.